will be guiding you through the process of creating acrylic nails. The process involves preparing the natural nail, applying the nail tips, applying the acrylic, refining the acrylic nails, and creating your desired design. Before we apply anything to our nails, we want to prepare our nail beds. You will need an electric nail filer for the preparation, and along with an e-file, you will also need a fine grit sanding bit to buff the natural nail plate. Being demonstrated in the video, I have the e-file set to 5 RPM and I am lightly buffing the nail plate. The RPM stands for rotations per minute, and having it at 5 RPM will ensure light pressure to avoid overfiling. You want to work your way across the whole surface of the nail plate, ensuring that you are being careful when working near the cuticle to avoid any bleeding. We can now apply our tips. We want to select the correct tip size. We want to choose a tip that matches the width of our natural nails. The tip should be sitting sidewall to sidewall without hanging over or being too narrow. After we size, we can apply nail glue to the well of the nail tip, or the part that will attach to your natural nail, and we want to press this tape onto our nails at a 45-degree angle, starting at the free edge of your nail. The free edge of the nail is the part that extends beyond your fingertip, and after applying the tip or pressing it, we want to hold it in place for 5 to 10 seconds to allow the glue to bond. After all of your tips are securely bonded to each nail, you can now cut them to your desired length. You can also shape at this stage, but for these nails, we chose to leave its shape square. Your next step is to apply a dehydrator and a primer. You want to apply your dehydrator first and your primer second. You want to dehydrate each nail to remove excess oils and moisture from the nail. This works by temporarily drying out the nail plate, and applying primer will also improve the adhesion between the natural nail and the acrylic. Before we begin applying any acrylic to our nails, we first need to learn how to pick up an acrylic bead. You will need a monomer, an acrylic powder, a monomer dish to pour your monomer into, a paper towel to clean your brush, and a 100% Kolinsky nail brush to pick up and apply acrylic beads. Monomer is the chemical used in acrylic nail systems, and it is combined with polymer powder to create the acrylic material that is applied to nails. To pick up acrylic beads, you want to fill your monomer dish up with monomer. You are then going to take your brush and place it in the dish. You want to angle the brush and gently submerge the bristles fully, allowing the monomer to saturate the brush. After dipping, gently swipe the brush against the side of the monomer dish. This releases trapped air bubbles and excess liquid. You now want to get your acrylic powder and place the tip of the brush flat into the acrylic powder at a 45-degree angle and lightly tap to pick up your bead. Allow the liquid in the brush to absorb for 1 to 2 seconds. The bead should be smooth and rounded and not too dry or runny. If it's too dry, your brush needs more monomer, and if it's too wet, your brush had too much monomer. Now that we have learned the essential portion of acrylic nails, picking up an acrylic bead, we can now apply our acrylic. For this tutorial, I will be teaching and demonstrating the 2-bead method. The 2-bead method is where we place the first bead in the center of the nail to cover where the tip is placed and gently pat it down towards the edge of the nail, and for our second bead, we place it at the cuticle area and blend it down to the first bead. When we place our first bead, we want to gently pat and swipe the acrylic using the tip of your brush to smooth out the acrylic. You're going to want to gently pat and swipe until your acrylic is completely smooth in all areas. After you have gently patted and swiped the acrylic until it is completely smooth, we can now move on to the second portion of the 2-bead method, which is placing the second bead. You're going to want to place the second bead at the cuticle area and blend it down to the first bead until it is completely smooth. You're also going to want to use the patting and swiping technique for this to smoothen out your acrylic. This is also going to create your apex as we are layering the acrylic when we add the second bead. The apex is the highest part of an enhancement located at the weakest point, and it is created to give the nail balance and strength. You're going to want to complete the 2-bead process for the rest of your nails, and if it isn't completely smooth, it's okay because we can file it later on. Having smooth application just makes the filing process easier. Now that you have finished your application, you can now file. We are going to be using the e-file again as they are powerful and will expedite the filing process. Set your e-file to 10 RPM and file the acrylic until it is smooth enough to your liking. After using your e-file, you're going to want to switch over and use a 180 grit hand file to refine your shape. Since I am doing a square shape, I want to file until all of the lines are perfectly straight. After filing and before beginning your art, you're going to want to apply a base coat. Even though acrylic nails are generally smooth after filing, a base coat is going to help even out any microscopic imperfections and ensure a flawless application of polish later on. After applying base coat to each nail, you're going to want to cure this underneath the UV lamp for 60 seconds. It is also helpful to have an inspiration or reference photo before beginning your art. For my art, I took inspiration from this photograph. I specifically liked the gold detailing, the 3D lines, and the blue colors, so I made sure to incorporate those elements into my own art. The remainder of this video tutorial is going to be a montage of me completing my design. So this is my completed nail art. I hope that you found this tutorial helpful and enjoyable, and thank you for watching.